So you want to battle algae? In this episode, I'm going to show you how to knock that algae out. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Real Reefing TV, where I help you save time, money, and frustration in the real reefing hobby, sharing my experiences and knowledge. And today, we're going to be talking about giving algae that 1-2 punch and knocking it out of the ring. Now, if you haven't subscribed already, consider doing so, because there are tons of videos coming out, generally weekly, about the real reefing hobby, and I'm just here to help you guys. And doing it for the last 8 years, I've had to battle algae, and then I've had to battle it again. There is a systematic way that I go about battling it and getting it knocked out of the system. And when you do that, when you do it in a sustainable way that's not just slapping a band-aid on it, you can really knock that algae out and have a sustainable tank. Now, of course, later on down the road, you might get lazy and then it comes back, but you use that same systematic approach, that same process to get it knocked out. So the first thing to algae control and knocking that algae out is you have to understand your opponent. And the first thing that you need to know is what it consumes. What does it live off of? And algae lives off of two main things. One are nutrients within the water, and that's going to be your phosphate and nitrate. The second thing is the light source that it's going to need to be able to convert those nutrients into carbohydrates, and which then gives it energy to grow. So that's number one. Number two is that you need to understand where it gets those nutrients from. And it gets those nutrients from excess food that's not being eaten. It's also getting that nutrient from the waste from your fish. Now, also understand this. Your test kits can't read everything. It can only read what's actually in the water itself, what hasn't been consumed by the algae. So understand that when you test and you get a test reading of 0 and you have algae in your tank and you're scratching your head saying, well, there's no nutrients in there. How could there possibly be algae? Understand that the algae is consuming those nutrients as soon as they're made readily available in the tank. Now, once we understand that, now we can really sort of create a game plan. We really need to make sure that we are taking out nutrients faster than they're being produced. And then once that algae is dying back, then we can go ahead and even off. And we need to make sure that what goes in, we're also taking out. So it's inputs versus outputs. Whatever is going into the tank and nutrients needs to be removed. And so whether you're using a protein skimmer for that, whether you're using filter socks or water changes or a biopellet reactor or GFO or an algae reactor, whatever it is that you're using to export those nutrients, you need to make sure that it's matching what your tank is actually needing. And so the algae is telling you that you need to export more, that you're not doing a good enough job exporting the nutrients, so I'm going to take over. And so you need to beat that algae. I feel like this is really inspirational. This is great. All right. Now, I don't care how you or what, I don't care what method you use to export the nutrients. That doesn't matter. You want to use a Chaeto reactor, Chaeto, whatever. I don't know. My wife makes fun of me when I say Chaeto. Chaeto reactor, whatever. If you want to use a biopellet reactor, if you want to dose nopox, if you want to drop vodka in the tank because that's your style, you do you, boo-boo. It doesn't matter what you do. It just matters in the way that or how much you do it. Is it matching the need of your tank? Now, a really good idea when you're in this process and you're starting is just to do one change at a time. Obviously, you know you need to make a change, but you need to do it one at a time, because what if you're doing too much? What if it cures it, but you don't know what actually did it? Was it you added more biopellets, or was it that you changed the media? Was it that you started doing 20% water changes as opposed to 10%? What was the change that actually did it? And so if you take things slow and you do one thing at a time, you'll start to understand how your tank reacts to that. And then once you have it and you start doing it slow, you'll hit this point of where the algae kind of evens off and then starts to die off, and then you'll need to kind of understand and adjust so that you're not stripping everything from the tank, so that your corals, like I said, we need that phosphate to be around 0.05, 0.03 ppm. We need our nitrate to be below 5, or around 5. You really just kind of listen to your tank and the colors of your corals, but we want some to be in there. And so doing one thing at a time really helps you to be able to watch your tank, test it, and understand what's actually going on if you want to get the best results. Now, a bonus tip for you, just to help you kind of 1-2 punch that, is that when you get started, manually remove as much of that algae as you can, because as we know, as we already discussed, there is nutrients locked up within that algae. So as that algae starts to die off, you're going to end up with that nutrient being put back into the tank. And so if you can manually remove that, go in, suck it off the sand bed, or scrub it off the rocks, or just kind of pluck it off, whatever you can do to remove it manually, you are straight up just grabbing that nutrient and pulling it straight out of the tank. So that'll give you that bop, bop, 1-2 punch and really knock out that algae. And let me know in the comments down below what you guys use to really export those nutrients. And if you've got a bop, bop, 1-2 punch for your algae, put it down in the comments below. And let me know if this video was helpful for you. I'm out, guys. Peace.